Growing up as a Sacramento Kings fan, you don't only have to deal with losing seasons every single year, but also very underwhelming and terrible free agencies. Which is exactly why, instead of me focusing on my own team giving a 31-year-old Dennis Schroeder $60 million, I'm going to talk about some other teams around the league that, in my opinion, have won free agency. Obviously, there's a lot more offseason left, so maybe this could change, but as of right now, these are my personal winners. Starting off with the Atlanta Hawks, and before we get into the new players that they got, I want to go over the players that are departing from Atlanta, with that being Clint Capella, Karis LeVert, Larry Nance Jr., Georges Niang, and Terrence Mann. I'm not going to lie, I didn't realize they lost 5 players this offseason, but the guys they got in return, or, instead of those guys, are all great players. Starting off with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, and Kristaps Porzingis. First things first, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I'm pretty sure he signed a 4-year, tens of million dollar contract. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually a really good deal financially for the Hawks. They didn't give him too much money, which is great for them. And honestly, I'm just blown away. I'm shocked that the Hawks were able to grab Nickeil. I know they were tied to him for some time now, but he is such a great player for the Minnesota Timberwolves that putting him on an Atlanta Hawks team that is kind of like starting to make this push for, hey, we want to contend. He could be a difference maker for this franchise. He's going to provide some insane defense on top of the great defenders that they already have, and also give them a bit of shooting as well. Like, he is one of those championship level role players, which kind of sounds crazy because the Timberwolves obviously never won a championship, but he's just one of those guys. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because he puts in all the dirty work. He is one of those great depth pieces. I think he's a super underrated pickup for this Atlanta Hawks team, kind of like the Luke Kennard deal. I'm pretty sure he signed a 1-year, $11 million contract, but Luke Kennard isn't one of those names that jumps out to everybody. No one is going and telling their friends, did you see the Hawks picking up Luke Kennard? But then you get like 20 games into the season, and this guy is one of your reliable three-point shooters, one of your weapons that you can bring up off the bench or whatever, and he is going to knock down those shots. He's going to space the floor for you. This is a deal that is like, hey, we are wanting to contend right now. We are going to build out the other guys around us that we currently have. I love Luke Kennard on the Atlanta Hawks, but then there's Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was very confused about this move when it first happened, partly because it was like the first domino we saw of the Celtics, trading everybody that they have, but it was also like, okay, so the Hawks are now getting Porzingis, like, how does he fit on that team? But truth is, after they got rid of Clint Capella, he fit perfectly. He is going to be that great lob threat for Trae Young, and just kind of gives them that size. The one thing that I have when it comes to Porzingis being on this team is obviously his health. He had a very, very weird virus or illness thing happening during the playoffs last year with the Celtics. And so obviously you hope that that's not a problem anymore, but still the health of Porzingis is a very big concern. And if you're getting rid of a guy like Clint Capella, a guy who had his own health issues himself, it's like, okay, you made an upgrade kind of, but availability is still going to be your biggest opponent when it comes to that. But putting that aside, the Atlanta Hawks absolutely killed it so far in free agency or offseason signings. Absolutely dominated. They are taking advantage of a very weak Eastern Conference, something that I'm going to make a video about in the future. Damn, we actually just got a trade as I'm making this video. Wizards get Cam Whitmore and Rockets get 2 second-round picks. Oh my god. I might have to add the Wizards to my best moves list. This is crazy. And actually, moving forward, the team that I have on my list is the Houston Rockets, with their departures being Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, Jock Landale, and now I guess Cam Whitmore. The biggest thing that I want to point to for this team is their re-signings. It is actually absurd how many players they were able to, maintain and keep on their team, as they got Steven Adams on a 3-year deal, Aaron Holiday, Jeff Green, Jabari Smith Jr., Jayshawn Tate, and Fred VanVleet. I'd say arguably the biggest re-signing that they got out of all those guys was Steven Adams. He was absolutely huge for them in the playoffs, even though they couldn't make it past the Warriors. He was great in that series and has overall kind of been the anchor for this team, a very reliable big for them. And actually, speaking about big, some of the additions that they got this offseason is Clint Capella, Kevin Durant, and Dorian Finney-Smith. Clint Capella is a very interesting acquisition. Obviously, he was a Houston Rocket before. I do hope Capella is able to stay healthy once again, but there is a very weird twist about Capella being on this team, and now it means that they're kind of like overloaded with bigs, or at least their big rotation is a little bit more interesting. And at first I was like, all right, maybe they're just getting Capella because they're prepping to make a bigger move. Maybe they're going to make a huge league, shocking trade. But as of right now, nothing has really happened, and it seems like they are maybe just adding the depth in that position. Maybe they want to run a little bit of double big with Steven Adams and Clint Capella. Like, I don't know. I guess the league is all about, having that depth now after watching the OKC Thunder win their championship. And so it will be a little bit interesting to see, what they do. Will they make another crazy move involving Clint or I guess other players on their team? Or do they just want him for the extra depth? I'm not sure. The Kevin Durant deal, even though it wasn't during like free agency time, it was right before the finals, is still a huge move for the Houston Rockets. In some videos, I said the Houston Rockets won the KD trade, and in other videos, I said the Phoenix Suns won the KD trade. But truth is, both the teams are just in such different places. They need different pieces. And so I don't really mind what the Houston Rockets had to give up to get Kevin Durant, especially because of what he provides for this team. A lot of the offense that they would try to generate before was through Jalen Green, and he proved himself to not be a reliable guy on that front. And so bringing in Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers, if not the best scorer in NBA history, is going to give you that reliable scoring, that reliable shooting, mid-range, and literally anything on the floor, while also having other guys like Dorian Finney-Smith or just other offensive players who can get you baskets, so it's not solely on KD. This is genuinely Kevin Durant's best chance to win an NBA championship since he was in Brooklyn. Phoenix was just a very big hiccup in his career, and honestly sucks. They just could not build around him for shit. So Houston Rockets, bravo on the re-signings and the additions you made in, trades or signings, whatever it may be. But the third and final team on my list of free agency winners, it might be shocking to you guys, it's not going to be the Lakers because they got DeAndre Ayton. I'm not doing that shit. It is the Denver Nuggets. This is another team that doesn't really pop out as one of those, immediate winners of free agency. But the two departures that they had on their team were Michael Porter Jr. and Dario Saric. They had no re-signings, but they did acquire Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Jonas Valanciunas. Bruce Brown is obviously huge, not only as a player, but also a culture piece for this team. He won a championship there. He was so loved in Denver. I think he also just felt so much love for Denver that him going back there, even if it is a one-year deal, I absolutely love that move. I think it's just a great morale, locker room boost, and, everything aside from what he actually provides on the court. But arguably the biggest move that they made was the Cam Johnson and Michael Porter Jr. trade. Listen, I was never an MPJ fan. I feel like he was always an inconsistent player. He started to kind of lose a lot of the athleticism that he once had. And just overall, if you can get a more consistent piece to put around Jokic, even if he does have a similar play style, you take that deal. You make that move. And Cam Johnson fits that exact type. He's a more consistent player. I think he just overall will be a better player alongside Jokic. It does always shock me. Cam Johnson looks like he's like 25 in my opinion, but then you see he's pushing 30. Like, he's older than MPJ. That is crazy to me. But yes, I love the Cam Johnson deal. I think it was a home run for the Denver Nuggets. Tim Hardaway Jr. is also an interesting piece for this team. I think my opinion on whether or not he was a good signing for this team depends on how much time he actually plays, because he can be kind of a shot chucker, but when you don't have Jokic out on the court, maybe you do kind of need that at times. And then you have Jonas Valanciunas, or at least the Denver Nuggets did have Jonas for at least like 5 hours before he started getting approached by overseas teams. And as of right now, there's been no confirmed word on whether or not he wants to leave the NBA to go play overseas, but he did fly to Greece and is being offered a shit ton of money to play on a way better role. So you know what, man, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets lost Jonas, which is kind of crazy because they gave up Dario Saric, and then immediately after, Valanciunas is like, yo, actually, I don't want to be here. But it really sucks because I was excited to see Valanciunas play on this Nuggets team, giving them a better backup big than DeAndre Jordan. Jonas Valanciunas, you could have won a ring in Denver with Nikola Jokic, but you want to go play with the fucking Panathinaikos, bro. Whatever, I know they're a good team. But yes, I have the Denver Nuggets as my team. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is my top 3 free agency winners. And you know what, man? If you're watching this and you're a fan of either of these teams I brought up in this video, I don't like you. I don't like you. And it's not because, I have any problem with you personally. It's just that your team actually makes good moves and are actually pushing for a championship, while my team is struggling to make a deal with the Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga. So you know what, man? Enjoy your stupid championship franchises while my team tries to get cum bucket. That being said, hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below your opinion, whether it's on one of the teams I brought up in this video, or maybe it's a different team that is a free agency winner to you. I do read and respond to everybody who's down there, so I love chit-chatting with you guys. Anyways, I will see you all in the next one. Later.